23% national sales tax versus a federal income tax. What is this and is it actually happening? I have all the details and what you need to know right here in the video, so let's get right into it. All right, now maybe you've seen this in the headlines a little bit lately, as there's been some information coming out of Congress where they want to implement a national sales tax in place of a federal income tax. In fact, maybe you've heard about a 30% national sales tax. In fact, that is not accurate. It's actually not 30%. The legislation and the proposal says nothing about a 30%, but rather they're suggesting a 23% national sales tax. Well, that's what I want to talk about here in this video, because this is actually a pretty interesting concept, and obviously there's a lot of pushback by a lot of people because that seems like a very high national sales tax. But let's get into it and talk about all the details and the give and take between all of this, because what would actually be better, a federal income tax or a 23% national sales tax? Well, let's get into it and talk about all the details. However, really fast before we do, thank you so much for joining me. If you're new here or if you haven't done so yet, please make sure to subscribe by hitting the button right down below the video, as it's totally free to do so. And because I am your one and only daily advocate, I'm here for you right by your side each and every day, watching all this information hitting the wire, as it's a very busy time right now. It's also a very uncertain time as things continue to change. We're getting new bills, packages, and proposals out of Congress on a regular basis, new announcements out of lawmakers and the administration, new reports, and all kinds of information hitting the wire. It's a very, very busy time. So again, I'm here for you in any way that I can be. That's my dedication, that's my commitment, and that's my promise to you and everybody here in the community. So again, please make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss any videos going forward. And let's get into it and talk about this new proposal coming out of Congress for this national sales tax and what it actually means and what's the likelihood of something like this actually passing. All right, so like I said, pretty interesting concept here. Now, first off, I'm not taking sides either way, with it or against it. I'm just simply telling you the information that I know as of right now with this proposal. However, like I said earlier, really quickly here, you've probably seen some headlines talking about a 30% national sales tax. It's not true. It's not 30%. It's 23% is what they're talking about. However, just like always, you got to read between the lines, because there's always people saying it's this or that. Well, this is what they're suggesting. Anyway, let's talk through the details about this, because will this actually be a good thing or not a bad thing? Now, initially, when I saw the details on this, my initial thought was, wow, 23%, that's a lot, okay? That seems like a pretty steep tax out there. Let me put that in perspective. Let's just say that you go out and you buy $1,000 worth of whatever, doesn't matter, $1,000 worth of widgets. That would be a $230 tax on top of it. That's pretty steep, right? That is a little bit of an ouch type of situation. And that's just on $1,000. What if you were to spend, I don't know, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000? You're talking about a lot of extra tax there. In fact, if you were to spend $4,000, it'd be almost another $1,000 in taxes on top of that. Anyway, just trying to put that into perspective. However, let's now talk about the differences here. So basically what they're doing is some lawmakers are coming out suggesting, in place of federal income taxes, the federal income taxes collected by the IRS, rather than doing that, they're suggesting, hey, let's just completely eliminate federal income taxes and let's implement a 23% national sales tax instead of the federal income tax. Okay, but what would be the benefit of this, and why would they want to do something like this versus a federal income tax? Well, let's talk through the details about this, because there's actually some pretty big differences about this. Now, generally, federal income taxes range between about 10% and about 37 or so percent, give or take a little bit, but that's kind of about the range that federal income taxes range. It's pretty big. Now, obviously, it's all based on income. Somebody that earns a lower income is obviously going to pay less in federal income taxes than somebody that has a very high income of, say, hundreds of thousands of dollars each and every year, right? Now, that person's obviously going to pay a lot more. However, that is kind of the range in in federal income taxes. However, when it comes down to state income tax, well, let's get to that here in just a second. That's a whole nother thing we got to talk about in conjunction with this. However, let's look at it this way. As of right now, there's about 170 million people in this country that are currently working as of right now, and have an earned income that are paying in through federal payroll, federal taxes through their payroll, right? So about 170 million people that are currently working. As of right now, the population in the United States is about 334 million people. So that's what it comes down to as of right now. Okay, so However, basically all the federal incomes or all the taxes that are paid into the federal government into the IRS through federal taxes is from those roughly 170 million people that are out there. However, with a national sales tax, guess who would pay that tax into the federal government? Everybody. So rather than taxes going into the federal government as of right now, anywhere between a range of about 10 to say 37% or so by the 170 million people, now all of a sudden, if they implemented a 23% national sales tax, well then we would have this 23% going into the federal government from say 334 million people. So virtually double the amount of people, not quite double the amount of people, but let's just call it almost double the amount of people would be paying a smaller percentage tax in general, about 23% in a national sales tax, that'd be, paid by everybody on all purchases versus about, that 170 million people going in through federal payroll taxes. So if you kind of ran the numbers here, where would it all come out, right? Who would be ahead here? Would it be better off as it currently is now, or would it be better off, having a smaller tax rate and basically being paid by more people? Again, just want to throw the numbers out here so you can all see what's going on here, right? However, now let's quickly talk about the states as well. Now, obviously, the states have their own sales taxes on top of that. Well, guess what? This would be in addition to the state taxes as well, which, by the way, state sales taxes are anywhere between about maybe 3 and 10%, depending on the location that you are in, depending on the states that you're in, but it's anywhere, around that 3 to 4% range up to about 10%. Now, again, this would be on top of that. So let's just say that you're, paying a 23% national sales tax, and then on top of it, you're paying, let's just say, anywhere between 4 and 10%. That would range anywhere from about 27% up to about 33% in taxes on every purchase, or essentially every purchase. That would be a lot, right? And again, go back to the example that I just gave you a couple minutes ago, right? Which is, let's just say you spend $1,000 between a national sales tax and the state taxes. You could be spending about $270 up to about $330 just in additional taxes on that purchase. Ouch, 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 right? That would not be a good situation. That'd be kind of bad, right? That'd be a lot of extra money. So, like I said earlier, my initial opinion when I, first saw the 23%, I thought that seems really high. I mean, realistically, would it really need to be that high? And also what they talked about too as well. And obviously, this is still in its original form. There hasn't been a whole lot of talk about this at all as far as negotiating all the details about it. But in the event that they were to work through on this looks like it would be implemented to all purchases. Well, in some states, they don't tax things like food and clothing and other necessities and things like that. In some states, those are non-taxable items. However, in other states, they are taxable items. But it looks like this national sales tax, the 23%, would be applied to everything. Well, again, should that really be fair? Now, obviously, they would go through the process of negotiating all the details about this and saying, maybe, let's take off food and take off clothing, things like that, because those are necessities, and generally, necessities wouldn't be taxable, in general in some states. So maybe they would take that out. But kind of an interesting concept and something we'd really need to run the numbers on to see, would this really be a good approach for everybody? Or would this just be a really good approach for the federal government? Well, let's just be real. If they're implementing some kind of change like this, and the people that are, suggesting this, who's it really going to benefit at the end of the day? Again, just saying here, right? We got to look at this, and we got to always read between the lines here to see, the people that are suggesting it, who's it really going to benefit? Them or, everybody else? So anyway, just want to point that out. But this is something that they are suggesting. Now, this is what I also want to throw out there as well. We also recognize right now we have a divided government. Republicans control the House, Democrats control the Senate, and then obviously the president, who is Democratic, right? Well, we know this much as well. If this were to go through the House and it makes its way over to the Senate, the likelihood of passing through the Senate right now is very, very slim. Now, let's just say, for example, that it does pass through the Senate. If it went to the president's desk, I can tell you this much. He wouldn't even look at it. He would throw it immediately into the fire and burn it, okay? There's no way the president would ever sign this right now. So the likelihood of anything like this actually being passed anytime soon, or at least for the next couple years, not a chance. Not happening. And there's no way it could even happen right now. Maybe it passes through Congress a little bit, but if it even makes its way to the president's desk, what I would anticipate not happening, if it did, let's just say in a hypothetical example, it actually makes its way to the president's desk, there's no way that he would even sign it. In fact, he's already indicated there's no way that he would even sign this thing. So just want to point this out, though, but it's still something to be, think about and to consider, because you never know. Remember, things change. Congress changes. The president changes, right? Things change every few years, and you never know. Maybe this is the way of the future, and maybe something that would be implemented at some point. But I would love to hear your opinion down below. What do you think would be better? Do you think it'd be better to tax the roughly 170 million people out there right now who are working through federal income taxes? Or do you think that we should completely eliminate federal income taxes and in place of it implement a national sales tax? So I don't know. I'd be curious to hear your opinion down below. To throw my opinion out there, not really sure if you care. You probably don't. Nobody really cares. But at the end of the day, let me throw it out there really quickly. I don't know. I'm not really sure what would be the best. I would honestly want to run a bunch of numbers on this. I would want to run a lot of calculations at the end of the day. But in my honest opinion, I feel like the 23% is honestly high. That's my honest opinion. I feel like that is a pretty high percentage. If they were to do something like this, I feel like they could probably get away with something more around like the 12% range, something like that. Again, I would want to run the numbers on this, because if they actually implemented this on all purchases as they're talking about, they're going to be getting a lot of tax revenues. And remember, this would be on all purchases from all people, not like, somebody earning, an income of whatever dollars or somebody working specifically to that. It would literally be on everybody. So everybody would be paying taxes on this, just like you do with your state and the state sales taxes. It'd just be like that, but it'd be on a national level as well, where the federal government would be collecting a percentage of every sale. So for me, in my honest opinion, again, I have not run a whole lot of numbers on this, but I would really want to spend some time sitting down with a calculator and running a lot of different figures on this. But I think that 23% is very, very high. That's just my honest opinion about it when it comes down to it. They could get away with a much smaller percentage, considering they're taxing nearly double the amount of people, and the tax revenues would be pretty high. And we know this much as well. Once taxes go up, do they come down? Nope, generally not, right? Taxes define the laws of gravity, right? They go up and then they don't come down. Wait, what happened? That's defying the laws of gravity. Whatever goes up must come down, right? Well, not when it comes to taxes. Anyway, I'd love to hear your opinions down below. But again, when it comes down to it, if you've seen this out in the headlines, if you've seen other people talking about it, it's 23%, not 30%, as other people are suggesting. And by the way, the likelihood of this actually happening is very, very small. In fact, it's almost not even existent as of right now. But maybe within some point in the future, if things change in Congress or if things change in, with the president, things like that, you never know. This could be something that we might be looking at some point in the future, and it's always something to examine, because remember, a few hundred people in Congress, they wag the tail of the entire dog, which is the entire United States. So they make the calls for all of us. Thank you very much. They love to micromanage, and that's what they do. So anyway, let me know down below. I'd love to hear from you about this. Let me know your opinions. If you like the idea, if you feel like it's garbage, throw it away, burn it up. Either way, it doesn't matter. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and that's totally fine. I'd love to hear yours down below. So anyway, hope this one helps you out. Again, I want to come back and shake out all the details about this, because it's kind of interesting. I've been seeing it in the headlines a number of times recently. I thought, should I really even talk about this or not? But I thought, you know what? It's kind of interesting, and there's been a lot of drama about this, right? Just like always, Congress, drama. Anyway, hope you're doing well. Please subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet. Share the video with your friends, family, social media, and go back and check out any of the other thousands of videos here on the channel. Until next time, enjoy your day, and I'll catch you again later in the next video.